Hello and welcome, my young friends, at your own channel for discussions regarding English literature, that is Lit City. Friends, this particular lesson is dedicated to all the aspirants of NAT. देखिए फ्रेंड्स, नेट का जो एग्ज़ाम है इट इज़ वन ऑफ द टफेस्ट एग्ज़ाम्स इन इंडिया एंड स्पेशली व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट इंग्लिश लिटरेचर. I can't say you all know that how tough it is to crack NAT and further JRF. Now recently NAT has revised its syllabus and we can see in past few years that focus is now shifted on theories and especially new theories like cultural studies. Friends, that's why not only I will introduce you to some concepts related with these theories, but I have also prepared certain questions that I deem important from that point of view. I can assure you that maybe the language is different and maybe you will find some other things related to these, but these questions will certainly come into direct or indirect form into your NAT papers this time or next time. So I hope you understand the importance of this lesson and you will follow it. और हम कोशिश करेंगे इस साथ में कॉन्सेप्ट को भी समझने की कि क्या क्या ये क्वेश्चन है, कैसे ये काम करते हैं. All these things we will try to understand and work into this particular lesson, that is cultural studies important question part first. Okay friends, देखिए cultural studies is an emerging, I would say an established field of studies. It is, we know, an interdisciplinary field. Cultural studies के अंदर there have been many thinkers, new concepts, Stuart Hall, Theodore Adorno, Raymond Williams, one of the founder, Umberto Eco, Italian one, Patricia Hill Collins, Ziauddin Sarkar, and many more. And this chapter will focus on certain concepts. तो चलिए स्टार्ट करते हैं हम इन इम्पॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन से. पहला क्वेश्चन इट इज रिलेटेड विद डेफिनेशन एंड वेरी पॉपुलर वन. Culture includes the organization of production, the structure of the family, the structure of institutions which express or govern social relationships, the characteristic forms through which members of the society communicate. This is one of the most basic and very popular definitions of culture given by a famous Marxist and cultural theorist. Now, the options now are first is Richard Haggard, Raymond Williams, E.P. Thompson, and Stuart Hall. So you have to guess who is the writer of this definition. Organization of production, structure of the family, structure of institution, and which express or govern social relationship. I hope many of you have read about this particular definition. Okay, this is time. I have given you enough time to think, mull over it, and this is time for answer. Yes, friends, it is Raymond Williams. Raymond Williams, who is very important name in the field of cultural studies. In fact, cultural materialism, an offshoot of cultural studies from Marxist point of view, Raymond Williams ने ये definition दी. Okay, moving over to our next question. Center for Contemporary Cultural Studies. It is considered as the most important institute in the development of cultural studies. Who was the first director of Center for Contemporary Cultural Studies? पहली बात तो ये यू मस्ट नो कहाँ पर ये स्टार्ट हुआ था, क्योंकि उस नाम से भी इसको जाना जाता है. इट वाज इन बर्मिंगम यूएसए. बर्मिंगम के अंदर इसको एस्टेब्लिश किया गया था एज अ स्कूल ऑफ स्टडीज. एंड माय क्वेश्चन इज, इसके पहले डायरेक्टर कौन थे? ऑलमोस्ट सेम ऑप्शन है, क्योंकि दीज वर द फर्स्ट वन who basically introduced the field of cultural studies. Is it Richard Haggard once again, Raymond Williams, E.P. Thompson and Stuart Hall? देखिए क्वेश्चंस का एक बड़ा फायदा होता है फ्रेंड्स हमें. we not only know about that particular question, but we also come to know about many names related with that particular field. तो यहाँ पर आप देख सकते हैं 2 बार मैंने ये नाम रिपीट करे हैं, यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड। और आप जो भी नेट एस्पायरेंट्स हैं उनके लिए मैं बोलना चाहूँगा दैट ऑलवेज गो थ्रू ऑल दी ऑप्शंस। आप केवल अगर आंसर जानते हैं तो भी remaining 3 options, study about them, why they are included in that particular question, why they have been put together with that particular answer. Okay, this is time for answer, और इसका आंसर है दोस्तों yes, रिचर्ड हागार्ड। he was the first डायरेक्टर ऑफ CCCB एंड इनफैक्ट बर्मिंगम के अंदर जब इस स्कूल को एस्टेब्लिश किया गया, रिचर्ड हागार्ड के जो एंडेवर्स थे, उनके जो अटेम्प्ट्स थे टू मेक इट अ वेरी important form of discussion, it led to the development of cultural studies in the 70s and 60s and 70s. Okay, moving over to our next question and a very important one. In fact, जून 2019 के अंदर इसके अंदर से क्वेश्चन आया है, पहले भी आ चुका है, and the question is, the Italian philosopher Gramsci was of the view that consent to the rule. Now, consent to the rule of the dominant group is achieved by the spread of ideologies, beliefs. Ideologies is consist of beliefs, assumptions and values through social institutions such as there is a gap, such as schools, churches, courts and the media, among others. The term we are talking about, that term that refers to domination or rule maintained through such ideological or cultural mean. देखिए पूरा ही ये important है, वो टर्म जो रेफर करती है डोमिनेशन और रूल मेंटेन थ्रू सच आइडियोलॉजिकल और कल्चरल मीन, वो टर्म क्या है? यस फ्रेंड्स, देखिए लेजिटिमेशन, रेइफिकेशन, स्ट्रक्चरेशन एंड हेजेमनी। वंस अगेन देखिए, अगर आपको आंसर आता है या ग्राम्स्की के नाम से आपने एक टर्म को एसोसिएट कर रखा है, दैट्स गुड, आपका ये क्वेश्चन क्लियर हो जाएगा। बट व्हाट अबाउट अदर टर्म्स? या लेजिटिमेशन अगर आंसर है, रेइफिकेशन है, अगर स्ट्रक्चरेशन या हेजेमनी आंसर है, व्हाट अबाउट द अदर टर्म्स? यू मस्ट आल्सो अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट दे मीन बिकॉज दे आर इक्वली इंपॉर्टेंट along with the answer. And yes, it's rather an easier question. जिन्होंने भी थोड़ा बहुत cultural studies को पढ़ा है, they know very well that hegemony is the concept which is closely associated with the works of Gramsci, the Italian philosopher. Okay, reception theory of coding and decoding a media message is associated with this cultural theorist. Okay, this one is important. Now this particular theory of coding and decoding a media message, how a message is encoded in media and how the audience or the spectator decode it, ये पूरा जो कॉन्सेप्ट था रिसेप्शन थियरी का, ये एक बहुत एस्टेब्लिश्ड लिटरेरी थियरिस्ट, कल्चरल थियरिस्ट ने दिया था और बड़ा ही इम्पोर्टेंट उनका नाम है और काफ़ी ज़्यादा उन्होंने काम किया है। स्टुअर्ट हॉल, रेमंड विलियम्स, जूलियन स्टीवर्ट और थियोडर एडॉर्नो, they all are very influential theorists in their own field. Okay, if we talk about the answer to this question, obviously it is Stuart Hall. He followed basically Richard Hogarth as the director of CCCB और बर्मिंगम के इन्होंने संभालने के बाद ही इंट्रोड्यूस मैनी न्यू कॉन्सेप्ट्स। केवल वो मार्क्सिस्ट को न लेकर बार्थे का पोस्ट स्ट्रक्चरलिज्म, साइको एनालिसिस, फेमिनिज्म, इन सबको उन्होंने इंट्रोड्यूस करा कल्चरल स्टडीज के अंदर। एंड ही आल्सो गिव this very influential theory of coding and decoding a media message. His works on TV and its impact as a cultural text is very important. Okay, which among the following is a valid statement regarding the closely associated theories? Two theories, one is cultural materialism and the other one new historicism. इन दोनों से रिलेटेड, दो बोथ हैव वन पर्टिकुलर वी कैन से सिमिलैरिटी, और वो सिमिलैरिटी है दे बोथ एक्सप्लोर द text from different angles rather than just literary angles. And which among these sentences is valid? First, while new historicists focus on the oppressive aspects of society which people have to overcome to achieve change, cultural materialists focus on how that change is wrought. First option कहता है कि जो न्यू हिस्टोरिस्ट थे उनका फोकस केवल ऑपरेसिव एस्पेक्ट्स पर था सोसाइटी के, जिनके द्वारा लोग जिनको चेंज करने के लिए जो जो लोगों को चेंज करने थे, जबकि कल्चरल मटेरियलिस्ट they discuss about the process of the change. First, this is the difference. Second, cultural materialism uses core texts from the entire trajectory of text history, whereas new historicism uses only core texts that would be contemporary to the text in question. Okay, it means in cultural materialism पूरा ट्रेजेक्ट्री इनिशियल पब्लिकेशन से लेकर रिसेंट पब्लिकेशन जो उस टैक्स से रिलेटेड है, इट कवर ऑल दूज टैक्स, जबकि न्यू हिस्टोरिसिज्म दे आर बेसिकली लोकेटेड इनटू दैट पर्टिकुलर time, contemporary of that time. This is another difference. And the third one is where new historicists would be satisfied to bring to light hidden power relation in a cluster of Renaissance texts, cultural materialists seek to find instances of dissidence, subversion, transgression that are relevant in the contemporary political struggles. Okay, तो न्यू हिस्टोरिसिस्ट उनका फोकस है केवल पावर रिलेशन को एक्सपोज करना, जबकि कल्चरल मटेरियलिस्ट है वो ये देखते हैं किस तरह से उस डोमिनेंट आइडियोलॉजी के होते हुए भी सबवर्जन हुआ या फिर डिसिडेंस हुआ, वो वॉइसेस जो हैं उनको एक्सप्लोर करना. नाउ आउट ऑफ दीज थ्री फैक्ट्स, only first and second, only first and third, second and third, all of the above. Friends, my purpose behind designing such type of question is that this is the pattern what you will witness in your NET paper. इसी ढंग से NET paper में आएंगे. They will make your task tougher by point giving you more options. You can think about, okay, this I know but I am not sure about the other two. So that is why you should exercise all these kind of things. And yes, this one is an easy one. All of the above statement are valid regarding the differences between the approach of new historicism and cultural materialism. Okay, moving towards next question. This is another very we can say frequently used formula of NET question, that matching the column. Here I have made two columns. One is about books that are related with cultural study theory, and obviously second column is writer or editor of that particular book. So first one is radical tragedy, second is subject of tragedy, third is alternative Shakespeare's, and fourth is political Shakespeare. All these texts are related with either cultural materialism or new historicism. Most of in fact related with new historicism. So you may have idea. देखिए बड़े बड़े नाम हैं, जोनाथन डॉलिमोर और एलन सिनफील्ड, they are almost synonymous with new historicism. Then there is Catherine Belsive, one very leading forefront critic related with new historicism. And these two editors, John Drekakis and Terence Hawkes, ये दोनों हैं. चलिए मैच मैं यहीं आपको करा देता हूँ. ऑब्वियसली रेडिकल ट्रेजेडी, इट इज रिटन बाय जोनाथन डॉलिमोर. सब्जेक्ट ऑफ ट्रेजेडी इज बाय कैथरीन बेल्सले. देन वी हैव ऑल्टरनेटिव शेक्सपियर्स. अब थोड़ा सा आइडिया आप लगाएं. दोनों ही बेसिकली एक एडिटेड बुक है, कलेक्शन ऑफ एसेज हैं. पॉलिटिकल शेक्सपियर एंड अल्टरनेटिव शेक्सपियर. चलिए देखते हैं ऑप्शन क्या क्या हो सकते हैं, क्योंकि ये भी ट्रिक होती है कि यू मे नो अबाउट टू आंसर्स एंड टू ऑप्शंस. तो देखिए, इफ वी नो फर्स्ट बी एंड सेकंड डी, देखिए फर्स्ट बी एंड सेकंड डी, देयर इज ओनली वन लेफ्ट. दिस इज वन ऑफ द ट्रिक्स विच यू कैन एंश्योर योर आंसर. केवल एक यही है जो इन दो क्राइटेरिया को फुलफिल करता है. इनफैक्ट you can see, केवल आपको एक भी ये पता हो, then it is very easy to crack. Okay, I'm sorry, this is okay, yes, it's this one. First one is B, obviously. I'm sorry, related with this. Yes, first one B and second D. Okay, third A and C you can do with it. Okay. Moving over to our next question, and that is, there is no single unproblematic definition of culture. The concept remains a complex one, a site of convergent interests rather than a logically or conceptually clarified idea. Once again, a very famous definition of culture. This time we have four names: Raymond Williams, Stuart Hall, Theodore Adorno, and Umberto Eco. Okay, this time the answer is Stuart Hall once again. He gave this famous idea, and you must remember these words: a site. Any culture is a site of convergent interest rather than logically or conceptually clarified idea. It means there is always mingling and clashing of culture and subculture, minor culture, counterculture. All these are converging at one particular site, and then emerges a dominant one. Alternative sciences, creativity and authenticity in two Indian scientists is a landmark work in South Asian cultural studies. It presents the biographies of two most eminent Indian scientists with an analysis of the emotional, social and cultural environment of traditional India. The writer of this book is, now this book, it talks about Ramanujan and J.C. Bose. I hope I am correct at this time, but I think these two scientists are studied, and the writer studied them not from their scientific or biographical, but rather the background, cultural and social background, which helped or detoured their researches. All these are discussed, और ये साउथ एशियन कल्चरल स्टडीज के बहुत ही एमिनेंट स्कॉलर है। डीएल सेठ, जीत सिंह ओबराय, आशीष नंदी और एजाज अहमद। Okay, I don't think there is no much need to guess. It is Ashish Nandi. He is sometimes referred to as the father of South Asian cultural studies. It is his. He is the writer of this very important book. French Marxist philosopher Louis Althusser discussed the role of ideological state apparatuses. This is ISA. Okay, ISA, which means institutes like churches, schools, family, religion, and other entities. They function through ideologies. These apparatuses provide a particular identity to people by making it sound natural. This process, that we consider the ideology or the dominant ideology as a natural one, as something which we should not question, ये process, इस process का term क्या है? I must tell you friends, in fact to my young friends, it is one of the key terms और जो काफ़ी ज़्यादा chance है पूछे जाने के. The four options being hegemony, alienation, structuration or interpellation. Yes friends, the answer is interpellation. Interpellation is the process by which the common public, consider the dominant ideology as the natural one. Okay, Julian Stewart uses this term for a methodology for understanding how humans adapt to wide variety of environments. Now this term it is another very important term. In fact, a subfield area of study for cultural studies is it cultural ecology, habitus, cultural adaptation and anomy. Once again, I must point to you that when after I told you answer, we discuss this term, you should go through the other three terms. Okay, the answer for this particular question is cultural ecology. How human beings adapt to wide variety of environments. So friends, these are some basic questions. They are only 10 questions. Very soon we are coming with new questions. I must request you to focus on these questions. These are very important one. Not only their answer, but also try to find out what the other terms or writers, what they have contributed to the field of cultural studies. I hope you are liking these videos. I am working to make it worth your time, and your suggestions are always welcome. Thank you, friends.